Matters. Let me see you move.
Love never felt so good. Dead and died, it never could. Not like you. Oh.
Hi, everybody, and welcome aboard to Local Matters, where living local, well, it never felt so good. Well, all the world's a stage is the phrase that begins a monologue from William Shakespeare's As You Like It. And all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. Coming up on Local Matters, we'll meet a young man who's making his entrance onto a bigger stage. And there are those who believe he could become the next Jim Carrey or Robin Williams. And we'll meet him when we come right back with more Local Matters. Hi, everybody, and welcome aboard to Local Matters, where living local, well, it never felt so good. Never felt so good to have joining me here on Local Matters a young man who is known on the local circuit for his sense of humor and his love of acting. We're talking about a young man by the name of Philip Noble. So welcome aboard, Philip.
Thanks, Dottie.
Good to have
Appreciate it. You too.
Welcome aboard and welcome back.
Yes, thank
I
you.
understand that you've left us. You've gone on now to the big ATL.
Yes.
Where in this area, in these parts, that's pretty much almost like going to Hollywood.
I tell you what, if you listen to some of the chatter on set from people in the know, Atlanta, my understanding, is third in the nation in terms of number of productions behind LA, New York, and then we have Atlanta. And
I did not know we had made it that far up.
yes, over 40 productions of film and television currently is my understanding.
You know, last night I was just sitting there kind of searching the internet, looking just to kind of see exactly what you just mentioned, to see how many production companies are out there in Atlanta, to see how many films are being filmed in Atlanta. And I was amazed when I was just going and listening. I was like, wow, did not know that.
And more are coming, it seems, every week.
So now Atlanta truly is becoming it is the rising star of the South.
Certainly, certainly.
Are you working with Tyler Perry?
Earlier in the spring, when I started doing this work on a part-time basis, I did get a couple days booked on his show, The Have and Have-Nots.
The Have and the Have. Oh,
well,
we don't need to go there.
I know. Unfortunately, never got to make it on set.
For those of you who do not watch The Have and the Have-Nots, if you can get it, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. It's great. I can see you playing the part of the young man that would be dating. What's her name? Oh gosh, she's the villain girl, young villain girl. I can't even think of her name.
Well, now
right
don't go starting any rumors.
I could see you playing that part. So you really were on that particular The Have and the Have-Nots. What did you do there?
Never actually got on. We were on set, but never got on camera. Sometimes they'll hire actors enough to fill out the scene, and when they actually get to filming, they realize or they make some changes that they may not need as many. So sometimes they'll just have us waiting, in the wings, as it were.
Okay.
And that's what's happened, yeah.
And the fact that they did pull you, and this is me, a layperson talking, so this is how I'm interpreted it. So you were somewhere there and they pulled you out for a minute and then decided they would make some other changes, and so you were kind of put back. But the good thing about that is that you were noticed.
On set, sure. Got to meet a lot of people, a lot of crew members, get some good information, make some contacts, networking. Like in everything else, it's certainly big in film and television business.
So tell me this, is it, because I've heard, there's been conversation that okay, so yeah, it's really good to be an extra, and most people really get excited when they become an extra, and especially if they can continue to get extra parts. But tell me, is that really, is that a good thing or not? Because sometimes I would imagine, I don't know if you want to be extra too long.
You bring up a good point, and I think it really depends on the individual and their career goals. I think, and I've been told this by numerous sources, it's never a bad idea to start out doing some background, what they call background acting work. If nothing else, to get your feet wet, to get an understanding of how sets work, learn some of the lingo, meet people. Yeah, so it's probably a good idea. You make a little money too, and gain some experience. Now, there are some people I've met who live in the Atlanta area, and that's all they do. They've made a career out of being background actors, and they love it, and that's what they love doing. And so they work on all these different films and TV shows, and they may not necessarily have the aspirations to get bigger roles or speaking roles. and that's okay. There are some people who, like myself, are using it as kind of a hopefully a springboard to get that experience on set, on bigger production sets. Kind of see how things work, meet people, learn lingo, things of that nature. And then you have some people that maybe they're theater trained perhaps, or they've done a lot of acting classes, and they go straight for auditions, and they may never set foot on set as a background actor. So it just depends.
So it just depends. And here's my thing. So you were comfortable with starting out, as an extra, and you have the desire to as a springboard, as you meant. You want that to springboard you into something more. And I want our viewers to understand, for those who are sitting at home and may have those same aspirations as yourself. Tell us a little bit. Was it really hard? Because you think about being an actor. Most people feel, I can't do that. I don't have any good headshots. I don't have money to hire a casting agent or a director.
Right.
I would be wasting my time. I mean, do you really need all of that to actually just start out into acting? Give us some basics of what you must do.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my experience. And kind of tell you how I've been able to parlay that, if you will, into what I hope is a long-term career. I started out in high school doing plays, and even before that, you can probably ask my parents. I've been an actor to some degree or another.
For those of you who know Philip, yes,
exactly.
You're quite a natural actor.
And of course, a terrible comedian, as many people around here probably know too. So I've always had that desire, that love of doing that. In college, did a couple of plays, and then took about 10, 12 years off to have a career that was not related to that.
To what you thought was a real life career.
It is. And I had a fantastic career. And you never know. I may end up going back to that. But
that's right.
I've always had this dream of trying to find out how far I could take my acting skills or natural talents, with a lot of hard work. How far can I go with that? Yes. Because I really do love it. And I love performing. If I can make people laugh, great. That's just a bonus.
This is good. I don't mean to cut you off, because what I want to do, we've got to go to break now, but what I want to do is when we come back, I want you to continue telling us a little bit about how you started, but I want viewers to see you in some of your early work, and it wasn't even that long ago, just a few years ago, some things you done here local. So we'll have that for you when we come back with more Local Matters. Don't go away. Hi everybody, welcome back to Local Matters. We're living local. Well, it never felt so good, and it never felt so good to have Mr. Philip Noble joining me this morning here on the set of Local Matters. Before we went to break, we were talking about Philip's work that he's done. Very early on, he talked about his love of acting. He wanted to explore that more. He's certainly done that. But what I'd like to share with you, with our viewers, with you, is some of his early work. We're going to be looking at two different jobs per se. One that's his very first piece here locally, and then one sort of kind of early on, actually filmed, I believe, at the Peerless here in Anniston. So let's take a look at some of his early work.
Christ can always forgive us and wants to forgive us. And you may be surprised to learn that there are a lot of people that do something, maybe it's really bad, and they know it's wrong, and they're really adamant about not doing it again and not wanting to do something that hurts someone or themselves, and they ultimately end up doing it again. I don't know if that makes them any less genuine, if that makes sense. Genuine in their desire to not want to do it again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey birds, let's go.
Yeah! Woo! I told you. Pay up. No, I'll get the next round. Come on. All right. Come on.
All right. Fine. Fair enough. Hey, Russell.
Yeah.
You know this here bar used to be a brothel?
No.
Yeah.
I ain't never heard that.
Yeah, man. In fact, there's a story. Madam used to run this place is still hanging around here, moving things and touching people.
Yeah, really?
Hey, Barky.
So that was some acting work that Philip did here on the local front very early on. But how early on was that work? Was it 2-3 years ago? How early on?
The first clip was from an independent film that was made by a native, Jason Keener from Saks, that a lot of people know. And that was made, if I'm not mistaken, starting in 2012, I believe. Okay. And the second clip was from almost exactly a year ago. With the local filmmaking group, Yellowhammer Filmmakers in Northeast Alabama, started by Annie and Tim Brunson.
Right, and I know you have done lots of work with Annie Brunson and Tim Brunson as well. Some of that work, and that's where we really see that Jim Carrey side of you. I don't have it, and I just really wished I had it to show our viewers.
Can't blackmail me like that.
No, yeah, you probably. I'm glad I don't have it, right? That I don't have that. But what was going on in the first piece? You were very serious there, talking to somebody. What was going on in that piece?
In that film, and just a quick note in that scene, there's me, and then who you don't see is the lead actor in that film, another local actor by the name of Jared Cuthrell, very talented young man, which I think y'all are going to see him many places in the future in film and television. But he plays a young man who has murdered someone, and genuinely feels bad about it, and wants to somehow relieve that sense of guilt, but he doesn't necessarily know how to go about doing it. And in that scene, I play a church counselor. And so he's asking me, how does one get forgiven? And he never tells me what he's done.
Right.
And you know, I never ask, but I'm just explaining to him from a Christian perspective, you know, this is kind of how we approach it. And it's a very fascinating movie, and Jason did a fantastic job writing and directing and producing and editing and everything.
Okay.
So it was very exciting to be a part of. And then, of course, with the second clip was a short film entitled Lucinda, based on true story of, if you're from this area, you know about the madam that used to
This is
work
supposed to be a
brothel.
ghost.
Yes.
At Peerless, well, she's a madam, and
that used to be a madam of the brothel upstairs back in the early 1900s, and she was shot and killed, some say accidentally. And so we did a story about it, and it was Christopher Singleton, local screenwriter here, wrote it up, and Annie, of course, was involved with producing and directing. You saw a couple actors in there with me, Mike Crosby and Amber Satcher, both very talented individuals.
Yes, Miss Amber Satcher. She is I have to brag, everyone, that's my cousin. That was she that you saw. That's my cousin, and she's actually studying acting right there in college, so she did a great job. She did a great job.
So that was fun to do, for sure.
Wow. Yeah. When we come back, I want to talk about what you're doing now in Atlanta. You are not, you're playing, and anyone knows you know that this is definitely, you're really stretching your abilities now and stretching yourself, because I understand you're playing a racist cop. Is that the part that you're playing?
We'll have to find out.
We're going to talk about that when we come back, because anyone knows you, that definitely, that's not you. So we're going to go to break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back when we come right back. Got to go to break. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back to Local Matters. We're living local. Well, it never felt so good. I've got Philip Noble joining me on the set of Local Matters. He started out here with his acting career in Anniston, and now he's moved on over to Atlanta, the big ATL, and he's moved on to a bigger stage. But he started out here, and he wanted to stretch himself. He knew that that was something he wanted to do, and he didn't want money per se to stop him, so he had to find ways to make it happen. And for some of you out there who may have those same desires and ambitions, but you feel locked in because you feel you can't, you've got bills to pay, Philip, share with us a little bit some of the things that you did. How did you go from Anniston to now really getting good, steady work in the ATL?
Well, first of all, let me say, I think anybody can do it. You may have to make some sacrifices, mainly time. But if you're, let's say, living in Calhoun County, East Central Alabama area, whether you are an actor or a filmmaker or you make costumes or you're a makeup artist, there's so much opportunity. And so here's some of the things I did to get started locally. Search out and find like-minded people. For instance, Jacksonville State University has, if I'm not mistaken, filmmaking classes or production classes.
Yes.
So you meet a lot of people that way. They also have a film club that meets each week, if I'm not mistaken, and I've met several folks involved with that.
That's right.
And they make you know, they do make films, short films perhaps, or other productions pretty frequently. I have many times helped out for free, a lot of times behind the camera, doing maybe holding one of those boom mics you
That's
see.
right, yeah.
Or doing what they call grip work. Just volunteering any way that I can. Getting involved with Annie and Yellowhammer Filmmakers of Northeast Alabama was a great start. I got to help out a couple productions behind the camera. Also, and that led to you know, being in front of the camera. There's also Birmingham has a film group that meets, I believe, the first Tuesday of each month. It's called Sidewalk Salon, and I've gone there several times and met many people, actors, producers, film directors, both from the Southeast and from Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta area, because Birmingham is, although not nearly as large a market when it comes to that type of work as Atlanta, it still has a lot of work going on.
Okay.
So do your research. Google is a friend.
It is a friend,
And I
yeah.
promise you, for those who are thinking of getting in this business, and it is a business, that it's easier than you think. You just have to make sacrifices,
Right.
but you can do it.
And here, and I think I have a full screen. I want to bring that up because you know what? There are a lot of different jobs that people can do to sort of make sure that they still have some income coming
Yes.
in.
Yes.
These are what I created. I created a full screen, and I
Survival
named
jobs.
it survival jobs.
And that's
So
true.
you're out there and you're trying to be an actor, an actress. You know, you maybe want to be behind the scenes. These are some work that you can do. Temp work. Did you do any of these type of jobs when you were kind of going through?
I've done several of them, maybe not while also pursuing acting work, but certainly at times. And you know, I've got a couple businesses that I started on the side several years ago that I still dabble with when I need to.
I'm looking at dog walker.
Yeah, that's right.
Because people would say, really seriously, dog. Do you know if you live in a place like the ATL and you're in you go out as you mean, you have to do your homework. You have
Oh,
to
yeah.
do your homework, and so you search out areas where people would pay you quite handsomely. They're
Yes.
at work all day long. They want to make sure their dog is going to be fed,
Right.
walked. You can make quite a bit just being a dog
be
walker.
surprised.
Be
Be
surprised.
surprised.
I met a young lady who was doing quite well in Atlanta. She was from Marietta, but she's doing quite well in the acting world there. And she started out just basically house sitting. She did a lot of odd jobs for several families who just were never home. And she did their grocery shopping. She did a number of odd jobs. She did very well. She was doing. I said maybe I should do that.
Well, you know, and I'm glad you mentioned that because what I'd like people who are interested in getting this business to understand, especially from someone who's also relatively new to it, is that it is a business. And when you're on set, whether it's a big production, film, television-wise, or even a small one, you know, we got to act professionally. I know when you're looking at me and I'm saying
Like
that.
really
y-
seriously?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do have my moments
Yes.
where I can do that.
Yes.
But, you know, there are, even for a small production, there can be a lot of crew members behind the scenes, and some of them, you know, you may have a crew member whose only job is to hand out bottled water to the actors and background actors and other crew members.
Right.
And you think about it, you think, oh, hand out water, that, you know, who wants that job? But that's a very important job, especially when you're on a set like I've been, where it's out in the middle of July and you're out in a field and you're wearing, you know, all kinds of makeup or costuming, and you're out there for 12, 13, 14, 15 hours.
Yes.
Those bottled water people are probably the most important crew members on that set.
I can imagine.
You know, at
Yes.
times like that. So you're working hard, even if some of the things might seem a little menial.
So you really do want to you want to be a personable person.
Yes.
Okay. This is you get your foot in the door, and the rest.
Be respectful. Understand that when people are, you know, there's a lot of activity. There's a flurry of activity. People are moving quickly. They've got to do things quickly. And if someone says, move out of the way, they're not trying to be rude. They just need to be where
Right,
you're
just
at
right.
right then and there.
Yeah.
So just move.
So so here we go. So would you encourage people to start going online? We know everything
Yes.
now is online.
Yes.
That's our friend. Go online. Start searching, looking.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you a couple casting agencies that I've done a lot of work with in the last few months right now. And a lot of them, most, if not all, probably have Facebook pages as well where they post a lot of their casting calls. And two of them in particular are Tammy Smith Casting. If
Okay.
you just type that in Facebook, that page will come up.
Okay.
And also CL Casting.
Okay.
And a third one is Marinella
No, I
Hume, Hume Casting.
Okay.
Those are three that I've worked a good bit with and have helped me out a lot, and you know, I'm very thankful because they've given me work. And and what I've noticed too is you do enough work for them and you do it well. You know, you don't cause problems on set. You don't whine and complain. You just do what you're told when you're told to do it, and be an asset on set, and you'll start
And
to
that
find
works
that they'll
anywhere
contact
in
you.
life, and not being a whiner and complaining.
Yes.
You've got to be able to roll with the punches,
Yes.
no matter what comes up. You've got to be able
Exactly.
to roll with the punches, get the job done, walk off, and just go,
Right.
"Phew, got it done."
Now, I haven't always done that. I'll be
I-
the first to admit it.
But maybe that comes too with a little bit of maturity. So for those of you who are young,
I've got a ways to go.
you got to realize too that when you're out there in this, trying to
Yes.
go into this world,
Yes.
that you do want to make sure that you sit back, because it's not going to be right, but you want to do a job well done.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So here we are. You're going to be in a film that's coming out. It's not a big major film. It is an independent film.
Yes.
The two main actors. Do you happen to their names?
There's one of the starring actors is an actor that I've been a fan of for years and years and years. His name is Keith David.
Keith David.
And he,
yes.
he kind of headlines this film, but there are two younger actors that play the main roles that in my scene or scenes, that's who I worked opposite with earlier in the spring when we shot this film. And it's, do you want to tell them about it a little bit more, or do you want me to just
Well,
roll
I
with it?
wished I did. This is a great segue, because you know what? We have got to end
break.
it. We have got to end it. But Philip, I definitely want to say thank you for coming back.
Yes.
Give me your hand, Philip. Because are you now too big to hold?
Well,
my
I'll tell you what,
hand?
I'll
Because
have my
you're-
people
you're
contact your people.
Yes, have my. So when I call you again, you're going to be so big. You're going to say, "Daddy, look, I'm going to have. Can you have your people call my people?"
This is the last time I'll give you an autograph for free.
I see. This is it. Philip Noble, he's doing great work in Atlanta, and we're just so thankful you came back to share a little bit about what you know to others who may have
This
the
is
same
home.
desire.
This is home, and anybody can do it.
That's
anybody
right.
can do it.
And we'll see you back here next week with more Local Matters. Bye now.
So good. Felt so good. So felt so good. Felt so good.